The cold concrete bit through my jeans as I sat on the curb, my suitcase beside me like a loyal dog. Through the glass doors of the reunion hall, I watched my brother laugh with security guards, pointing at me. His voice carried through the night air, loud and mocking. "She's not on the list. Never was." My cheeks burned with humiliation as guests streamed past me, their expensive perfume mixing with exhaust fumes from the parking lot. I pulled my coat tighter, trying to disappear into myself. This was supposed to be my celebration. My event. 8 years of blood and sweat had built the company funding this gala, yet here I sat on the sidewalk like trash waiting for collection. My phone buzzed with notifications from the party hashtag. Photos of my brother accepting congratulations, shaking hands, playing the role of visionary founder. Then headlights swept across my face. A black SUV pulled up to the curb, engine purring like a panther. The tinted window lowered slowly. Inside the hall, my brother's smile froze. His face went pale as chalk. A man in a dark suit leaned forward from the back seat. His eyes scanned the entrance, then landed on me. "Where is Lennon Brooks?" His voice was professional, clipped. "The real owner needs to be escorted inside immediately." My brother pushed through the glass doors, his confidence cracking like thin ice. "There's been a misunderstanding," he called out, his voice too high. "I'm the founder here. I can help you find whoever you're looking for." The man in the SUV didn't even glance at him. "Lennon Brooks. Where is she?" I stood up, my legs shaking. My suitcase will squeaked against the pavement. "I'm Lennon Brooks," I said quietly. My brother's face twisted. He stepped closer, hissing under his breath so only I could hear. "You're ruining everything. Walk away now, or I'll make sure you never work again." The SUV door opened. A hand extended toward me. "Ms. Brooks, please. We've been looking for you." My brother grabbed my arm. His fingers dug into my skin like claws. "Let me tell you how I ended up on that sidewalk. My name is Lennon Brooks, and 8 weeks ago my brother didn't just betray me. He erased me from my own life like pencil marks on paper. It started on a Tuesday morning in September. I was reviewing quarterly reports in my downtown office when my phone rang. Mom's surgeon. The words complications and extended recovery blurred together as blood rushed in my ears. She needed me. Not him. Never him. But family was family, and I'd already lost Dad 3 years earlier. I wasn't losing her too. That afternoon I called my brother into my office. The view from the 42nd floor stretched across the city, buildings I'd helped shape through our urban development company. "I need to be with Mom full-time," I told him. "Can you handle operations temporarily? Just until she's stable?" He nodded, concern painted across his face like a mask. "Of course, Lennon. Family comes first. I'll keep everything running smoothly." I believed him. That was my first mistake. The transition was supposed to be temporary. 2 weeks, maybe 3. Mom's surgery was complicated, but the doctors were optimistic. I signed a power of attorney for business decisions. Standard procedure for medical leave. My brother suggested we formalize the temporary shift with paperwork. "Just to keep the board comfortable," he explained, sliding documents across my kitchen table while Mom slept upstairs. "You focus on Mom. I'll handle the administrative headaches." The papers seemed straightforward. Temporary delegation of authority. Limited scope. 60-day maximum. I signed where he pointed, my mind on medication schedules and physical therapy appointments. That night, I slept in the chair beside Mom's bed, listening to her breathe. When I woke up, 17 missed calls lit up my phone. My assistant, my CFO, my lawyer, all locked out. The next morning I tried logging into the company email. Password incorrect. I reset it. Account suspended. Called IT. "Mr. Brooks changed all administrative passwords last night," the technician said nervously. "He said you authorized it." My hands went numb. I drove to company headquarters, my heart hammering against my ribs. The lobby smelled like expensive coffee and betrayal. Security waved me through without question. They'd known me for 8 years. But on the 14th floor, everything had changed. My corner office was empty. Not cleaned out. Me. Like I'd never existed. The desk I'd chosen myself. The chair I'd sat in through 1,000 late nights. The photos of Mom and Dad, all gone. Erased. My nameplate had been removed from the door. A receptionist I didn't recognize looked up from her computer. "Can I help you?" Her tone suggested I was lost. "I'm Lennon Brooks. This is my office." Her face showed polite confusion. "I'm sorry, but Mr. Brooks is the CEO. His office is down the hall." My throat closed. "Where's Claire?" "My assistant. She was reassigned. Mr. Brooks said you were taking a mental health leave. We're all supposed to give you space to recover." The words hit like fists. Mental health leave. He'd planted that story before I even knew I was gone. My salary deposit never arrived that Friday. Called payroll. "There's a hold on your account pending review," they said. Mr. Brooks flagged some irregularities. Irregularities? In my own paychecks from my own company. I'd built this business from a single property development deal 8 years ago. Turned a small inheritance into a $30 million operation. Every vendor relationship, every investor connection, every successful project had my fingerprints all over it. Now my brother was calling me irregular. I tried reaching board members. Half didn't return my calls. The other half gave me corporate sympathy. "We're sure you and your brother will work this out privately." Nobody wanted to choose sides. That afternoon I went to lunch with an old mentor. He looked uncomfortable the moment I sat down. "Lennon, I need to tell you something. Your brother called me last week." My stomach dropped. "He said you've been unstable. That the stress of your mother's illness triggered something. He asked me to be patient while you got help." The word unstable echoed in my skull like a scream. I started documenting everything. Every email I'd sent. Every contract I'd negotiated. Every financial record that proved my role. But when I tried accessing the company server, my credentials were deleted. My brother had been thorough. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched him systematically erase me from our company's history. The website was redesigned. His photo appeared under founder and CEO. My name appeared nowhere. Not even in the team section. Business cards arrived at vendor offices with his name embossed in gold. Legal documents were refiled listing him as the original incorporator. He'd even had articles in trade publications corrected, removing my quotes and inserting his own. It was a lie built on my work, my connections, my sleepless nights and sacrificed weekends. Then the invitation arrived. Heavy cardstock, gold lettering. "You're invited to celebrate the visionary leadership of our founder." Gala. In the reunion hall I'd chosen for our company's 10th anniversary. Celebrating him. For founding the company I'd actually created. My hands shook as I read the date. Next Saturday. The final insult. I decided to attend. Not for drama. Not for confrontation. For documentation. I needed witnesses. I needed proof that I existed, that I'd built this, that I wasn't the unstable sister having delusions. Hired a lawyer. She reviewed the power of attorney I'd signed. Her face went grim. "He rewrote this. The document you signed and the one filed with the state are different. He committed fraud. But proving it would take months, maybe years. The gala was in 6 days. I needed something faster. I reached out to investors privately. Most ignored me. 3 met with me in coffee shops, away from prying eyes. They listened. They frowned. But they weren't ready to act. "We need the board to move first," one said. "We can't look like we're choosing sides in a family dispute." Then I called Adam Kellerman. He'd been our first major investor, back when the company was just me and a dream. He'd believed in my vision when everyone else saw risk. His assistant said he was unavailable. I left a message. 24 hours later my phone rang at midnight. "Lennon." I've been watching this situation. Adam's voice was gravelly, tired. Something's very wrong. We met the next morning in his downtown office. I brought everything. Emails, financial records, contracts with my signature. The original incorporation papers listing me as founder. Articles I'd written under my name before they were scrubbed. Photos of me at ribbon cuttings, groundbreakings, investor meetings. Adam studied each document in silence. His jaw tightened. Finally he looked up. Your brother made a critical mistake. He forgot how corporate structure actually works. I leaned forward. What do you mean? When we invested 8 years ago, the terms gave me a controlling vote in any dispute between founding partners. It was protection for everyone. Your brother can't make unilateral decisions without my approval. My heart started racing. He's been making decisions for 8 weeks. Exactly. Which means every single one is invalid. Every contract he signed. Every document he filed. Every financial transaction. All of it requires my counter-signature, which he never requested. Adam's smile was cold. We're going to end this at the gala. The plan was simple. Attend the gala. Let my brother celebrate. Then, in front of everyone, investors, clients, industry leaders, reveal the truth. Not with shouting. Not with tears. With documents. With legal authority. With the one vote that mattered more than his lies. Adam arranged everything. The board would conduct a quiet emergency audit starting immediately. Every decision my brother had made would be reviewed against corporate bylaws. Every financial transaction would be traced. We had 6 days. His team worked around the clock. What they found was worse than I'd imagined. My brother hadn't just erased me. He'd been moving money. Small amounts at first, then larger. Paying himself bonuses I'd never approved. Hiring his friends into positions that didn't exist. Charging personal expenses to corporate accounts. He treated my company like his personal piggy bank. He got greedy, Adam said, sliding the audit report across his desk. Theft, fraud, breach of fiduciary duty. We have him. The gala was in 2 days. I bought a simple black dress. No flashy jewelry. No dramatic entrance. I would walk in quietly, head high, and let the truth speak for itself. Saturday arrived cold and clear. I spent the morning with Mom. She was recovering well, finally strong enough to ask questions. Where's your brother been? He hasn't visited in weeks. I helped her with lunch, choosing my words carefully. He's been busy with work. She touched my hand. You look tired, sweetheart. Are you taking care of yourself? I thought about the sleepless nights, the constant anxiety, the feeling of being gasped. I'm handling it, Mom. That evening I dressed carefully. The black dress was elegant but understated. I wore Dad's watch, the one he'd given me when I made my first deal. My hands shook as I fastened the clasp. Adam called at 6. Security briefed. Board positioned. Legal team standing by. You just need to show up. At 7 I pulled into the Reunion Hall parking lot. The building glowed with lights. Valets rushed to open car doors. Women in gowns and men in tuxedos streamed inside. My company's logo hung above the entrance, spotlights making it shine like a crown. Everything I'd built. Everything he'd stolen. I grabbed my purse and walked toward the entrance. The lobby sparkled with crystal and champagne. Investors I'd courted for years clustered around cocktail tables. Clients whose projects I'd personally managed laughed at the bar. Industry leaders I'd collaborated with admired ice sculptures. And there, in the center of it all, stood my brother. He wore a custom tuxedo, his smile wide and white. People surrounded him, shaking his hand, patting his back, congratulating him on his vision. Her vision. My vision. I stepped inside. The warmth hit me after the cold parking lot. A waiter offered champagne. I took a glass, my fingers tight around the stem. My brother spotted me. His smile flickered. He excused himself from his admirers and cut through the crowd like a shark. What are you doing here? His voice was low, dangerous. This is a company event. I'm part of the company. Not anymore. He grabbed my elbow, steering me toward a quiet corner. You're on medical leave, remember? You're not well. People will understand if you need to go home and rest. Pulled my arm free. I'm perfectly well. His eyes went hard. Lennon, don't make a scene. You're embarrassing yourself. Before I could respond, he waved to security. 2 security guards approached. Young guys probably hired just for tonight. They looked uncomfortable. Gentlemen, my brother said smoothly. My sister isn't feeling well. Can you help her to her car? I stared at him. You're having me removed from my own event. My event. My company. You need to accept reality. He turned to the guards. Please. She's confused. It's best if she leaves before she causes problems. The guards looked at each other. One cleared his throat. Ma'am, if you could come with us. My face burned. Around us, people were starting to notice. Whispers rippled through the crowd. I wanted to scream. Fight. To tell everyone the truth right there. But security was already moving toward me. I thought of Adam's plan. Timing. Patience. Precision. Fine, I said quietly. I let them escort me through the lobby, past the curious stares and raised eyebrows. My brother watched me go, satisfaction smug across his face. The doors closed behind me. The night air hit my skin like cold water. I stood on the sidewalk, my suitcase at my feet where I'd left it from checking into a hotel earlier. Humiliation washed over me in waves. I sat on the curb. Inside, the party continued. Music thumped through the walls. Laughter echoed. I pulled out my phone to call Adam, but before I could dial, headlights swept across me. The black SUV pulled up, sleek and powerful. The window lowered. A man in a dark suit leaned forward. Where is Lennon Brooks? The real owner needs to be escorted inside immediately. Behind me, the glass doors burst open. My brother rushed out, his tuxedo jacket flapping. There's been a misunderstanding, he called, his voice strained. I'm the founder. I can help you. The man didn't look at him. Lennon Brooks. Where is she? I stood, my legs shaking. I'm Lennon Brooks. The SUV door opened. Inside, I could see Adam Kellerman, his face stern. Beside him sat a woman in a business suit, holding a leather folder. Ms. Brooks, the woman said. I'm Diane Wells from the board. We need you inside immediately. My brother's face went white. Board. What's going on? Adam stepped out of the SUV. We're correcting a mistake. My brother grabbed my arm, his fingers digging in. You're ruining everything, he hissed. Walk away now. Adam's voice cut through the night like steel. Remove your hand from her. Now. Security appeared, the same guards who'd escorted me out minutes earlier. But this time they positioned themselves beside Adam. Diane Wells stepped forward, her heels clicking on the pavement. Shall we? She gestured toward the entrance. Inside, the music had stopped. People clustered near the windows, watching. My brother blocked my path. This is my event. My company. You can't just walk in here and... Actually, Adam interrupted, his voice carrying across the parking lot. It's hers. It always has been. And you're about to find out exactly what that means. The crowd inside pressed closer to the glass. Phones appeared, recording. My brother's face cycled through expressions. Confusion, anger, fear. I don't know what she told you, he said, his voice rising. But my sister has been unwell. She's been under tremendous stress. She's not thinking clearly. Stop. I found my voice. Came out stronger than I expected. Just stop lying. Diane opened her leather folder. Perhaps we should discuss this inside. In front of your guests. My brother's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. No words came out. I walked past him, flanked by Adam and Diane. The security guards fell in behind us. My brother stumbled after us, his confidence crumbling with each step. The lobby fell silent as we entered. Every face turned toward us. I recognized investors, clients, employees, journalists, all of them watching. Diane walked to the center of the room. Someone handed her a microphone. "Good evening. I apologize for the interruption. My name is Diane Wells, representing the board of directors. We need to make an important announcement." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. My brother pushed forward. "This isn't necessary. Whatever issues we have can be handled privately." Diane's voice cut through his protests. "Earlier this week, the board conducted an emergency audit of all corporate decisions made in the past 8 weeks. What we found was deeply concerning." She pulled documents from her folder. "Every major decision made during this period violated corporate bylaws. Every contract signed lacked required authorization. Every financial transaction exceeded granted authority." The room buzzed with confusion. Diane continued. "The power of attorney granted to Mr. Brooks was limited and temporary. It did not grant him authority to make unilateral decisions. All such decisions require countersignature from our controlling investor." She gestured to Adam. "Which he never requested or received." Adam stepped forward. The crowd parted for him like water. 8 years ago, I invested in this company because I believed in Lennon Brooks. Her vision, her integrity, her talent. The corporate structure we created included safeguards to protect all founding partners." He paused, letting his words sink in. Those safeguards were designed for exactly this situation. When one partner tries to seize control illegally. My brother's face had gone from white to gray. "This is ridiculous. I was helping. She was too sick to." "She was never sick," Adam said flatly. "You fabricated that story. You told employees, investors, and clients that she was mentally unstable. You used her mother's medical emergency as cover for corporate theft." Gasps echoed through the room. Phones were definitely recording now. "That's not, I never." My brother's words tumbled over each other. Adam pulled out his own folder. "We have emails, voice recordings, financial records. You've been moving money without authorization, paying yourself unauthorized bonuses, hiring friends into fake positions, charging personal expenses to corporate accounts." The color drained completely from my brother's face. Someone in the crowd whispered, "Oh my God!" Diane's voice rang out again. "Effective immediately. All authority granted to Mr. Brooks is revoked. All decisions made under that authority are under review. All financial transactions are frozen pending investigation." My brother lunged forward. "You can't do this. I built this company. I made it what it is today." "No," finally spoke. My voice echoed in the silent room. "I built it. From the first property deal 8 years ago. Every investor relationship, every client contract, every successful project. That was me." I walked toward him. The crowd parted. "You took a medical emergency and turned it into theft. You erased me from my own company. You told people I was unstable. You forged documents. You committed fraud." Tears blurred my vision, but I kept going. "And when that wasn't enough, you threw me out of my own celebration." The silence was complete. Even the catering staff had stopped moving. My brother opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Adam nodded to security. The same guards who'd escorted me out now moved toward my brother. "Wait," he said, his voice cracking. "Please. Let me explain." "Explain what?" I asked. "How you stole from your own sister. How you lied to everyone in this room. How you traded family for ego." The crowd began to shift. People stepping back from my brother like he carried disease. I watched faces change. Investors who'd shaken his hand minutes ago now wouldn't meet his eyes. Clients who'd congratulated him turned away. Employees who'd laughed at his jokes studied their shoes. A woman in a red dress, one of his biggest supporters, walked toward the exit without a word. Others followed. My brother watched his world collapse in real time. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the air conditioning. His custom tuxedo suddenly looked cheap, ill-fitting. "This is all a misunderstanding," he said desperately, addressing the crowd. "My sister and I had an agreement. Temporary transition. She's twisting it into something it's not." Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Diane pulled out another document. "We also found communications where you discussed making the transition permanent. Emails to lawyers about removing Ms. Brooks from corporate records entirely. Text messages about how to discredit her if she tried to return." She handed the document to the nearest journalist. "All of it documented. All of it illegal." Phone camera flashed. Then another. My brother raised his hands to shield his face, but it was too late. This would be everywhere by morning. Adam stepped forward again. "The audit revealed more than unauthorized decisions. We found systematic financial irregularities." He projected a spreadsheet onto the screen behind him. Numbers glowed in neat columns. Over 8 weeks, Mr. Brooks redirected approximately $200,000 in corporate funds to personal accounts. He disguised the transfers as consultant fees, vendor payments, and operating expenses. The crowd gasped collectively. I stared at the numbers, feeling sick. $200,000. My brother had stolen that much in just 2 months. He also attempted to take out a line of credit using corporate assets as collateral, Adam continued. Without board approval. Without proper authority. The bank flagged it as suspicious, which is actually what triggered our initial investigation. My brother stumbled backward, knocking over a champagne tower. Glass shattered. Liquid spread across the marble floor like spilled secrets. "I was going to pay it back," he whispered. "I just needed to cover some expenses. Temporary cash flow issues." "Theft isn't a cash flow issue," Diane said coldly. "It's a crime." The word hung in the air. Crime. Diane pulled out the final document. The room leaned in collectively. "The board has voted unanimously on the following actions. Mr. Brooks is hereby removed from all corporate positions effective immediately. He is barred from representing himself as an employee, officer, or representative of this company. He is prohibited from accessing company property, funds, or information." Pause. "And he is barred from any contact with Ms. Lennon Brooks pending legal proceedings." My brother's knees buckled. He caught himself on a table, champagne glasses rattling. "Legal proceedings. You're going to sue me. I'm family." "You stopped being family when you forged my signature," I said quietly. "When you told people I was crazy. When you stole my company and my reputation." Diane handed the document to security. "Mr. Brooks, you need to leave immediately." He looked around desperately. At the crowd watching him fall. At the investors turning their backs. At the employees who'd believed his lies. Finally his eyes found mine. "Lennon," he whispered. "Please. Help me. I'm your brother. Or family. You can fix this. Just tell them it was a misunderstanding." The words should have hurt. They should have made me doubt. But standing there, surrounded by evidence of his betrayal, I felt only clarity. I looked at him directly. Really looked at him. This person who shared my blood but not my values. Who'd taken the worst moment of my life and weaponized it. Who'd tried to erase me like I never existed. "You told me I didn't belong here," I said, my voice steady. "You had me thrown out onto the sidewalk. You called me unstable, embarrassing, confused. You told everyone I was too sick to lead." I took a step closer. "You chose greed over family. Lies over loyalty. Your ego over our relationship." Another step. "So no. I won't help you. Because you're right about one thing." I stopped directly in front of him. "You don't belong here anymore." Security moved in. 2 guards, professional and firm. They took his arms gently but without room for resistance. "Please," he said again, but I'd already turned away. I watched them escort him through the lobby, past the silent crowd, out the glass doors. The same path I'd walked 30 minutes earlier. But this time he wasn't coming back. The doors closed behind him. For a long moment nobody moved. Then someone started clapping. Slow at first. Then others joined. The sound built like thunder, filling the hall, washing over me in waves. Diane approached me, holding an envelope. Ms. Brooks, the board would like to formally reinstate you as Chief Executive Officer, effective immediately. My hands shook as I took the envelope. Inside was a letter on corporate letterhead, signed by every board member. It outlined my full restoration, my authority, my reputation, my company. We owe you an apology, Diane continued. We should have investigated sooner. We should have questioned the narrative we were given. We failed you. I looked around the room. At faces I'd worked with for years. Some looked ashamed, others relieved. A few smiled with genuine warmth. Adam squeezed my shoulder. The company needs a leader. Tonight. I nodded slowly. A microphone appeared in my hand. The crowd quieted. I stood in the center of the room, where my brother had stood an hour ago, and took a deep breath. Thank you all for being here tonight. I know this wasn't the celebration anyone expected. Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. 8 years ago, I started this company with a vision. To create something meaningful. Something that would last. Something built on integrity and trust. I looked at the faces watching me. Tonight showed me what happens when we lose sight of those values. When we prioritize image over truth. When we choose comfort over courage. I continued, my voice growing stronger. I won't pretend this doesn't hurt. Betrayal always hurts, especially when it comes from family. But I also won't let that pain define this company or our future. Around the room, people nodded. Phones were still recording, but I didn't care anymore. Let them record the truth. Moving forward, this company will operate with complete transparency. Every decision will be documented. Every transaction will be accountable. Every voice will be heard. Pause. Because that's what real leadership looks like. Not one person claiming credit. Not ego and lies. But collaboration, honesty, and shared success. The applause started again, louder this time. More certain. Investors approached to shake my hand. Clients promised renewed contracts. Employees I barely knew told me they'd always believed in me. The journalist who'd photographed my brother's downfall asked for an interview. Tell the real story, she said. People need to hear it. I agreed. Later, much later, after the last guest had left and the catering staff had cleaned up, I stood alone in the empty hall. My heels echoed on the marble floor. I thought about everything that had led to this moment. Pain. The fear. The doubt. 3 weeks later, I sat in my reclaimed office, the corner suite with the view I'd chosen 8 years ago. Mom's photo was back on my desk. Dad's watch was on my wrist. Everything in its proper place. The company was healing. We'd restructured leadership, implemented new oversight policies, and launched an independent ethics review. Several employees who'd participated in my brother's scheme had been let go. Others who'd stayed quiet out of fear received counseling and reassurance. My brother never contacted me. Legal proceedings moved forward without him. He'd violated court orders, failed to appear at hearings, and eventually fled to another state. I heard through distant relatives that he'd burned through his stolen money within weeks. Karma had its own timeline. I rebuilt relationships with investors, clients, and employees. Slowly. Honestly. Some people never quite trusted me again, assuming I must have done something to deserve such betrayal. But most understood. Most saw the truth. One evening, Adam stopped by my office. How are you really doing? He asked. I looked out at the city skyline, lights twinkling in the darkness. I'm okay. Some days are harder than others. But I'm okay. He nodded. Revenge is a dish best served cold, they say. Smiled. This wasn't revenge. Revenge is loud, messy, emotional. This was just timing. Patience. Letting the truth speak for itself. I thought about that night on the sidewalk. The humiliation. The fear. The moment when everything seemed lost. He tried to erase me, I said quietly. But you can't erase the truth. You can bury it, hide it, lie about it. But eventually it surfaces. Adam stood to leave, then paused at the door. You know what the best part is? You didn't destroy him. He destroyed himself. You just refused to go down with him. After he left, I stayed late, working on a new project proposal. Outside my window, the city hummed with life. Somewhere out there, my brother was learning that arrogance has a price. That shortcuts have consequences. That family isn't a shield for bad behavior. And here in this office, I was learning something too. That staying calm, strategic, and patient isn't weakness. It's power. That the truth doesn't need to shout. Just needs time. I turned off my computer and headed home. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight, I'd simply survived, rebuilt, and reclaimed what was mine. Not through drama or tears or public scenes. Through documentation, allies, and timing. Revenge doesn't need to be loud. Just needs to be right.